boys, welcome to another video, right? Today we're discussing how to make winning creatives for dropshipping, right? I'm sure you guys have watched like a billion different videos on how to make creatives. But this is not like a step by step, like, oh, here's how you actually press the right buttons and like how to actually create those creatives in CapCut and whatnot. I'm not really doing that type of tutorial right now. This is more of like a high level overview of like how you should go about things, right? When you create creatives for dropshipping, right? Um, and this is obviously branded dropshipping. We're not doing general dropshipping anymore. So that's that, right? So when you try to create creatives, there's obviously two options that you can do. You can either rip creatives, or you can make creatives from scratch, right? And making creatives from scratch can be hard because, like, if you're a beginner, like, you don't know where to start, right? But ripping creatives is a lot easier, and it's like that's what everyone does in the industry right now. um and it's not ethical, but like, like, obviously everyone does it, and like not everyone talks about it, but everyone does it. So that's that, right? But we're gonna get into like both of those methods. And obviously when you start ripping creatives, you obviously want to move into um making creatives from scratch, right? Because like you have those winning angles and whatnot that you can transfer over, and like you can start making creatives from scratch, right? But we're gonna get into this, and yeah, so let's get right into it, right? So if you're ripping creatives, you just need to find the ones that will perform well on paid ads, because not all creatives that are ripped from, say, TikTok Shop will perform well on Meta, right? Now, I don't condone ripping ads, as I said before, but it's good to get proof of concept before you invest into your own content, right? Um, I only go for skincare and supplement products these days because they have biggest pain points and insecurities, with also the biggest scam, right? And I don't recommend drop shipping, right? Like single use goods, like let's say like a backpack or something. Where you can fit a lot of clothes, and that's like a wow factor and whatnot. But like, I don't recommend like testing those type of products, because there's no recurring revenue, right? There's no people coming back to buy the product like second, third time. So it's literally useless. It's you just depending on like um you're relying on the front end revenue that you produce, like the first time customers, right? And that's not sustainable at all with the rising ad costs and whatnot. So like, you need to keep it like really simple, but you need to like find a product that literally gets you recurring revenue, right? Customers buy it, come and buy like second, third, fourth time. And it creates LTV, and your AOV goes to the roof and whatnot, right? When you create like upsells and whatnot, right? And cross sells. But yeah, that's it. And so if you're going for these types of products as well, which I recommend, right? You'd want to go for like these type of like skincare products, supplement products that solve big insecurity and have like big TAMs, right? So like that's like total addressable markets. I recommend you'd want to rip creatives that UGC style testimonial ads with between the length of like 1 to 3 minutes, right? Um, I put 1 to 3 minutes because you can actually go up to 3 minutes on a real placement, as well as other placements on Meta, right? The maximum placement length that you can do for Meta, I think, is for a reel. I think it's 3 minutes, so you can actually go up to 3 minutes on a reel. So like that literally educates the customer, as I said. Like, yeah, so another reason is that it allows the customer to be educated on the problem and the product, which makes them pre-sold into buying the product before they even land on the website, right? At the end of the day, like, no one is gonna buy from like a random ad that they see on Facebook if they're not like pre-sold, and like if they're not getting educated on the problem and the product. They're not gonna buy, right? At the end of the day. So like, you can have all the flashiest like CRO elements and whatnot, conversion rate optimization and whatnot, but like, you know, no one's gonna care, because like, you need to actually like educate the customer, and like, you need to literally get into the mind of the customer and be like, okay, what are they thinking? what pain points do they have and whatnot, right? Because like that pre-sells the customer onto like your product and like your solution essentially, right? So 1 to 3 minute long ads are also called mini VSLs, which are a UGC hybrid, right? So like you can have like a mini VSL. It's called a mini VSL when it's like more than like 1 minute long, or like 1 minute 30 seconds long. It's called a mini VSL, but it's like a UGC hybrid because it's a UGC ad essentially. So yeah, all you have to do is find those ads and see if it really gets the pain points and the emotional triggers and solves and the problem that the product solves across, and see that it targets the emotional triggers, right? So emotional triggers are things like insecurity, embarrassment, and fear of aging. If they have something like wrinkles, which can be solved by like a skincare product and whatnot, there'll be the emotional trigger for that, which also triggers the impulse purchase, right? You want to get them right then and there, like you want to get them in an emotional state to purchase right then and there, and this is what that creates, right? Like if you hit them where it hurts and like literally tug on those emotional strings, which is directly related to like the perception of themselves and how they feel inside and whatnot, and like their insecurity mainly. um when you trigger those, you can literally get them on an impulse, right? Like right then and there, right? Um, without like having to explain a whole lot and whatnot. If you can convey the outcome of the product in like a short and concise manner, with by still educating the customer as well along the process. Education and entertainment is like what they're in for when they scroll on these apps, right? So if you can like educate the customer and like bring the problem to the forefront of their mind, um because like many people, like they just don't think about the problems that they have and like the insecurities that they have 24/7, right? It's your job to like bring them to the forefront of their mind and literally like amplify it so that they can be like, oh shit, like I literally had this insecurity, this is me, bro, like this ad is targeting me right now, and like they'll buy right then and there, right? And that's impulse purchase right there. So impulse purchases are like a lot lower than it used to be, because like now the market is like a lot more sophisticated and whatnot, and like people just don't buy online impulsively as they used to. But there's still a percentage. That's why you gotta go for these 1 to 3 minute long ads, um, which like pre-sells them, right? Which like literally nurtures them on the ad, so that when they land on the website they can make the purchasing decision like that. Maybe they have a few objections that you can handle throughout the ad as well. Maybe you can handle them in the website. That's why you need to have like FAQs and whatnot on your website as well, right? So oh shit. So yeah, emotional triggers, yeah. So if you can find those creatives as well as some with some sort of structure to it. Most of the TikTok shop affiliates don't know how to convert people, but some do your job. Some do. Your job is to find the ones that do, right? So most of the TikTok shop affiliates, they're in it for the money, right? They're in it for like literally getting paid by TikTok, for promoting a product. They just put the product in your face and whatnot, and they go, "Oh, there's a discount, buy the fucking product." So like that's not really how you convert people. You know, you don't want to compete on price, because like most of these TikTok shop products, like the creatives do that, right? They compete on price and like, because that's what TikTok Shop is. It's a price driven platform, and so is Amazon, right? And you can literally compete on price, and like it'll be like TikTok Shop, like TikTok will take off like a percentage, of the whole product, for the customer, if they buy, and like they'll get paid commission. Like the TikTok shop affiliates will get paid commission, um like a whole lot of commission, like 30% commission, even if the product is like $11, right? So that just goes to show it's like a really impulsively curated platform where it's impulse purchases, but it's driven on price, so you can't really convert people on value and whatnot. But e-com is completely different. Like e-com, I mean like Shopify is completely different, right? We're essentially competing on value instead of price, right? So that's why you need to get through your head. And yeah, oh, I just went up. um but yeah, as I said, like some of these creatives don't really follow a structure, right? You can use ChatGPT and use the deep research feature to actually research about the target market and how they speak and the language that they use, etc. But that doesn't come until you actually do the brand new creatives from scratch, right? um but like you need to find TikTok shop videos that literally follow this framework right here: hook, problem, hashtag, problem, fail, solutions, dream outcome, solution, product intro, and CTA and risk reversal. Obviously it's not gonna follow this exact framework, but it's your job to like literally like just weed through all the bullshit. Because most beginners, they come onto the first page of Calculator, they come on and they pick the first product, and they go on the first page of the creatives for that product, and they rip all the first top ads, right? You need to remember that like not all videos convert the same. Like just because it went viral on TikTok doesn't mean that it'll convert the same on paid ads, right? So you need to get that through your mind and like literally understand that. See if you can find creatives with the structure. And yeah, this structure is like true tried and true tested um structure, right? This is like this will convert people on cold traffic right here. So if you follow this, if the video follows this up to a certain extent, you can rip it, right? Now your job is to find those creatives with everything that I just mentioned and edit them up in CapCut. You can use either Flow AI to create hooks, or you can use Kling AI as well. But the best is the Flow AI right now. It just came out with VO3 and whatnot. Um, it's by Google, by the way. So the most important thing is the visual hook. If you can get that right, you'll print, and Flow will give you that, right? Flow can literally make a scene out of like literally thin air, bro. Like it can literally make a whole like color graded scene off of like a prompt, um, or like a reference picture. So like if you have a product picture or whatnot, you can literally put it and like it'll spit out like a really cool scene depending on the prompt, right? Um, and like remember the hook is made up of like three parts, right? Visual hook, most important, and gives you the biggest leverage. Text hook on screen, and the audio hook, which can be the voiceover, right? You can you can put up a mild extreme version of the problem as a hook for the creative using the Flow AI, right? Most beginners do the mistake of putting their product as a visual hook, which makes no sense because you have to bring the customer down the funnel of stage of awareness, from let's say problem aware to most aware. So you can't start with most aware, right? It might work for the big brands with like brand awareness and whatnot, but no one knows who you are, so like you can't really, literally start with most aware, bro. You know, so you need to bring the customers down the funnel, like the stages of awareness as I went through in the previous video, right? Um, so you have to bring them from like unaware to problem aware to solution aware to product aware to most aware, right? You need to bring them down that funnel so you can convert them, right? Otherwise, it just doesn't make sense. Like you just put a product in their face, like no one's gonna know. Like no one cares about your product, bro. They just care about the outcome that it solves and the outcome that it gives them, right? Um, but yeah, the hook is made up of, and most beginners make this mistake of like literally using their product as a visual hook, right? And that doesn't work, right? So you have to use like a mild extreme version of your like problem that you're trying to solve, and that's gonna get the attention of like your target market, right? Otherwise it's you just put a product up there and like it's not gonna get the attention of the target market, right? Or the target audience, right? Another big mistake that beginners make is that they completely use a different clip at the start of the ad, like an oddly satisfying clip, which can target the wrong audience off the bat. And this is even a bigger mistake than the last one. Remember, Meta targets your ideal customers through the creative itself, through interest targeting. So if you put a completely irrelevant clip at the start of the ad, your target audience won't resonate, right? So that just goes to show, like, if you put like a different, like an oddly satisfying clip or whatever, like a slime clip, like, bro, like, no one's gonna resonate. People think that'll grab people's attention, but it grabs the wrong type of attention, right? You want to convert people. You don't want to like entertain them. You know what I mean? So like, it's just a big mistake that you need to avoid, right? Once you find a winner, keep iterating on it and milk the shit out of it, right? Remember, in your whole ad account, net new concepts and angles should be only 20% of the whole ad account, and the rest of the 80% should be iterations based on your past winning ads, right? So yeah, that's a big one right there. So like, people do like 50-50, right? Like, they just test like a bunch of whole different ads with whole different marketing angles, and they only iterate like a little bit, right? When you find a winner, you need to milk the shit out of it, right? You can't just be like, yo, I found a winner and it died out and that's it. I need to find a new winner and a different angle. Like, that's not how it works, bro. But yeah. So after you rip creatives for some time, you need to transition into making your own content as soon as possible to avoid DMCA claims and avoid any issues, right? This is where the fun begins. So first, you need to do deep research of your target market, right? How do they speak? What language do they use? What does a day in their life look like? What do they struggle with? What insecurities keep them up at night, right? You can do all this through the deep research feature on ChatGPT. Gone are the days of reading through Reddit posts. You can ask ChatGPT to do all that for you and give you only the information that you need based on those posts. But you need to prompt it properly, right? Remember, the brand owners that do the most research wins. The brand owners that know the most about their customer, like they're actually the customer, will dominate the market and like dominate any other brand owner ripping creatives forever, right? And you wanna stop ripping creatives as soon as possible, because like that just opens up a whole bunch of can of worms that's like, you get DMCA'd and whatnot, and it's just not fun. You need to take down all your creatives, and your ad account gets banned and whatnot, right? So so yeah, remember, the brand owners that do the most research wins, right? So you need to do deep research of your customer, like you are the actual customer buying it, right? You need to get into their shoes and think what they think. What language do they use? How do they speak to their friends? How do they speak to their family? What struggles do they struggle with? You can also do review mining. The review mining on Amazon. This means that you're taking reviews from a direct competitor, listing and pasting it on ChatGPT and asking a few key questions, which go something like this, right? So, pain points or problems, desired outcomes, purchase prompts, main unique value propositions, unique features or benefits, uncertainty and perceived risk, objections, right? You need to answer all these questions in depth, so that you get a good idea of like why people are buying it, and like what are their purchase prompts and whatnot, um, and like the desired outcome. You need to create desire within the ad to get them to convert, right? Otherwise, you're not going to convert them. So once you do all this research, you have literally have two options to actually make the creatives, right? You can either use AI, cost effective. It's cost effective, but don't recommend it at high scale. Or either you can use that, or you can hire UGC creators, right? You can use an AI avatar spokesperson from something like Heijin and overlay B-roll of the product plus people using it, right? You can use Flow AI for visual hooks, like I mentioned before. Remember, your creatives need to tell a story based on the research you've done, so that people can relate to it emotionally. Otherwise, they're not going to buy from a random ad on Meta, no matter how good your product is, right? If they never get to your website, then it doesn't matter how good your product is. Um, and if you don't like hook them in emotionally, and if you don't get them invested in a story and a transformation, you're literally not going to sell. It's just as simple as that. Also, your creatives need to show transformation, as I said before. That they're only a few steps away from getting that quick transformation and outcome themselves. The faster your product solves the problem or insecurity, the better. Right now, if you're hiring UGC creators, make sure that you get B-roll clips separately from them. Otherwise, it's going to be expensive if you get individual UGC videos, because then you can only use it once. If you get B-roll clips as well, you can mix and match the clips depending on whether how well they perform, right? So in summary, get one talking head video and multiple B-roll clips of them using the product, right? So you can mix and match them, and you can use it in like multiple ads, and like you can find out which ones are winning clips, and literally you can literally lay them out in like one whole ad, and that'll be like a one mega winning ad for you, you know. So regardless of whether you use AI or UGC creators, all ads should follow a framework to avoid going off topic, right? In rare cases, some really raw, authentic style UGC ads work without a framework, but it's very rare, right? It's very rare. Because otherwise, like UGC creators really love to like go off topic and like not really stay within the parameters that you set them. So that's why it's important to like literally set out a framework. Otherwise, they're gonna go off topic and like you can have a shit UGC ad with a shit conversion rate, shit metrics, right? So that's a big one right there. So yeah, in terms of UGC creators, you need to specify the framework they follow. Otherwise, they're gonna sound robotic and takes away from the authenticity that I said before, right? So this is a creators video, so I'll strictly keep it to creatives. But in terms of the funnel side of things, the more you scale up, the more complex your funnel will also be. Because you'll be cracking the unaware market segment. At that stage, I'm saying this because it'll directly affect the type of ads that you do as well. To crack the unaware market, you need longer VSL type of creatives so that you educate the customer on the UMP, which is a unique mechanism of the problem, and the UMS, which is the unique mechanism of the solution, right? Um, and that's that. At the end of the day, like you need to educate the customers a lot more when you get into like the unaware stages, because like remember the unaware stage is like when they don't know that they have a problem. Well, they have a problem, but they're not really actively thinking about it, and also they don't know that there's products out there or like solutions out there for like those type of problems, right? So that's that, and I won't go into depth into this because this is just to get you off the ground and get those first couple of winning ads. So if you follow this to a T, do your research properly. Do your deep research on ChatGPT. ChatGPT is the only thing that you need. You can use a free version if you want, but I recommend getting a paid subscription because then you can create your like product photos from through that as well. Um, but use Flow. That's a really good one. It just came out with VO3, where you can use like really good ad hooks, right? Which all just hook the customer in because you're amplifying the problem and like you're making like a mini extreme version of the problem, right? So if it's like hair loss, it'll show like literally like two strands of hair on a woman or something like that, which is like really like that's a bit too extreme. I recommend don't go that extreme, but I mean if you want to, you can and you can test that out, but uh, just don't go too extreme, otherwise Meta will ban you. Um, and just don't make any health claims either. So that's a good tip right there. But I think that's pretty much it, boys. I think we got through most of it, and I know this is like kind of all over the place, but I think this will give you like some good pointers on like where to get started if you're like struggling with creatives, right? And because like creatives is like the biggest lever that you can pull, in terms of like the the money that you can bring in, right? The revenue that you can bring in is directly correlated with the amount of creatives that you put out and like the amount of winning creatives that you put out. Because like your hit rate matters as well. That's why I said net new concepts needs to be 20%, and your iterations should be 80% of the whole ad account, right? So that you keep that ratio, and you can literally start scaling, right? If your CPA looks good, if your ROAS looks good, then you can keep scaling, right? But that's it at the end of the day, and I'll see you guys in my next one, eh? Hope you guys got some value out of this, and yeah, I'll see you guys in my next one. Peace.